It started with a forgotten charger. If I hadn't left it at home that morning, none of this would have happened, or at least, not like that. I was already halfway to the office when I realized, phone blinking at 7%, meetings stacked all day. I could have just bought a new one. God knows I've done that before. But something, maybe instinct, maybe foolishness, told me to turn around. I took the back roads home, avoided the highway. I told myself it was for the view, but maybe it was because I didn't want to admit how empty the house had started to feel. We'd lived in that place for 6 years. Enough time to fill it with memories. But lately, everything felt colder. Even the couch we once fought to cuddle on had become her favorite place to sit alone with her laptop, facing away. I pulled into the driveway just after 10:15. Her car was gone. That stopped me. She worked from home on Fridays. Always had. It was her little non-negotiable. She used to say she liked the natural light in the kitchen while she answered emails, made her little to-do lists. But now, her car wasn't there, and neither was any note. I walked inside anyway, half annoyed, half curious. The house smelled like her perfume, faint and expensive. That scent used to feel like home to me. Now it felt staged. My charger was on the nightstand, right where I left it. But something else caught my eye. A dress. Not just any dress, the dress. The red one she wore on our anniversary 2 years ago. Silk, backless, dangerous. She hadn't worn it since. I stood there, holding that fabric between my fingers like it could tell me a story. It whispered something I didn't want to hear. I should have let it go. I didn't. I called her. No answer. Texted. Read. Where are you? No reply. I sat in the living room for a minute, charger in hand, phone now safely connected to power. That's when I saw it. Her iPad on the couch. Open. On Google Maps. A little blue dot blinking downtown. I stared at it like it was a bomb counting down. Maybe she was meeting someone for lunch. A client. A friend. Maybe. But in my chest, something sank. I've never been the jealous type. Never needed to be. Kate was always loyal. At least, that's what I believed. But lately, she'd been elsewhere. Even when she was sitting beside me, her mind felt miles away. I asked once if everything was okay. She said she was just stressed. I believed her. Love makes you believe all kinds of things. That day, I didn't believe her. So I drove. No plan. No confrontation rehearsed. Just a growing heat in my stomach I didn't know what to do with. It was a small restaurant. One of those boutique brunch spots with marble tables and fresh flowers in tiny vases. We'd been there once together. She said it felt like Paris. I parked across the street, and I saw them. Through the window. Her, Kate. Sitting in that red dress. Laughing in that effortless, tilted head way she only used when she wanted someone to feel special. And him, a man I didn't recognize. Well-dressed. Confident. Smiling like he owned the air between them. My heart didn't break. It didn't even beat. It just stopped. I couldn't move for a long time. I watched her tuck a piece of cake onto a fork, giggling as she guided it toward his mouth. He leaned in, bit it gently. Her eyes never left his. That look. I used to live for that look. I don't remember getting out of the car. I just remember the sound of my footsteps on the pavement, the weight of the door handle as I pushed it open. The host barely glanced at me. Maybe he sensed what I was walking into. Maybe he didn't care. I stood there, 10 feet from her table. She didn't see me at first, but he did. His smile faltered. He whispered something, and then her head turned. And then time stopped again. Her eyes widened, fork still in hand. Cake half-eaten, mouth parted, like she wanted to say something, but the words had drowned before they reached the shore. I didn't speak. Not yet. I just looked at her. Really looked. At the way her fingers trembled slightly. At the way her smile had disappeared completely. At the way guilt showed up uninvited, like a shadow behind her eyes. She stood up slowly. Michael, she said, voice soft, almost rehearsed. What are you doing here? I opened my mouth. Nothing came out. What do you say when the person you trusted most is standing across from you feeding someone else your life? I took a step closer. I thought you were at work, she added, a little too quickly. I almost laughed. I thought you were at home, I said, my voice quiet. Level. She glanced at him, then back at me. This isn't what it looks like. I've heard that line in movies. I never thought I'd live it. I nodded. Then what is it? Silence. He stood up then, awkwardly. Maybe I should. No, I cut in. You should stay. I want to know who you are. Kate placed a hand on his arm. Protective. Possessive. Michael, please. Let's talk outside. No, I said again. Calm. Cold. We'll talk right here. She looked around nervously. The other diners were watching now. Murmurs. Forks paused midair. The perfect brunch scene fractured by a man in yesterday's shirt and a woman who ran out of lies too soon. I wasn't angry. Not yet. I just needed to understand. To put the pieces together. And that's when I noticed the bracelet on her wrist. My anniversary gift. Still there. Still shining. A symbol of a promise already broken. I don't remember deciding to sit down. One moment I was standing over them like a statue carved from disbelief, and the next, I was sliding into the chair across the table, the menu still warm from his hands. Kate didn't stop me. The man, I still didn't know his name, shifted uncomfortably. He was younger than me, maybe by 5 or 6 years, but carried himself with the arrogance of someone who thought charm was a currency you could spend endlessly. Michael, Kate said again, voice hushed like she was trying to soften the impact. This isn't what you think. I stared at the fork still resting in her hand, the bite of cake forgotten, frosting melting into the white porcelain like it was trying to disappear. Then help me, I said. Help me understand what this is. Because it looks a lot like you're on a date. She opened her mouth, closed it. Her hand slowly placed the fork down like it was something dangerous. Her eyes flicked toward him. He cleared his throat. Look, man, I didn't know she was married. She said you were separated. Kate winced. I didn't look away. You believe that? I asked. Yeah. She said it was complicated. That you were, still living together for convenience, but it was over. Convenience. That's what I'd become. Kate finally spoke again. I was going to tell you. I didn't know how. How long? I asked. Still calm. Still ice. Her silence told me everything. 3 months. The man offered, shrugging like it didn't matter now. Maybe 4. Kate's head snapped toward him, eyes wide. Why would you say that? Because he asked, he said, motioning to me. You were gonna lie, weren't you? She looked down. There it was again, that shadow. Guilt. I leaned back, letting the weight of it all settle into my chest. For months of shared meals, shared bed sheets, shared silence I thought was just stress. For months of, I'm tired, and I'll be working late, and don't wait up. I took you to the lake house 2 months ago, I said quietly. You cried and told me you wanted to start over. Kate looked away. I kept going. You said we could still fix it. That things just felt heavy, not broken. They did, she said quickly. Michael, they did. And this. I gestured at the table, at the remnants of dessert and wine glasses kissed with fingerprints. Is this how you fix something? She didn't answer. The man stepped back from the table then, muttering something about not wanting to be involved. I didn't stop him. He wasn't the villain here. He was just the mirror. She was the one holding it. When he left, it was just us. Kate and me. The silence returned like an old friend. Familiar, unwanted, cold. I looked at her, really looked. She was still beautiful. That hurt. Her hair was curled in that effortless way she always did when she wanted to feel noticed. Her earrings, the ones I got her for her birthday last year, glinted in the soft light. Everything about her looked like someone trying to impress. But not me. Never me. I loved you, I said, barely above a whisper. She blinked hard, her lips parting as if to speak, but no words came. I still do. I added, not because I wanted to, but because it was true. And truth deserves to be spoken, even when it tastes like blood. She finally found her voice. I didn't mean for it to go this far. I nodded slowly. That's the thing about falling. You don't usually mean to. She reached across the table then, her fingers brushing mine. I was scared, she whispered. I felt invisible, like I was just fading in your shadow. I didn't pull my hand away. Not yet. You could have told me that, I said. I would have listened. I know, she said. But I was afraid that if I said it out loud, you'd see how broken I really was. I smiled bitterly. Kate, I married you broken. That wasn't the problem. The problem was you stopped letting me see you at all. Her hand dropped away. A tear slipped down her cheek. I hated how badly I still wanted to reach over and wipe it away. How do we come back from this? She asked quietly. I looked at the empty chair beside her. You already did, I said. You just came back to the wrong person. Her mouth opened, then closed. She looked so small, sitting there. So unlike the woman who once danced barefoot in our kitchen, who used to write me little notes and tuck them into my work bag. I stood up. There wasn't anger in me, just sadness. A deep, echoing kind. The kind that settles into your bones and doesn't leave. Michael, she said, standing too. Don't follow me, I replied. Please. But we can talk. No, I said. We already did. I walked out into the sunlight. The sounds of the restaurant faded behind me. My feet hit the pavement with surprising steadiness. I didn't look back. I didn't need to, because I knew this wasn't the end. It was just the first crack in everything I thought we were. I didn't go back to the office that day. I didn't go home, either. Instead, I drove. No destination, no music, just the rhythmic thrum of the tires beneath me and the ache in my chest for company. I must have passed the same gas station 3 times before I realized I was just circling, like I could outrun what I'd seen. I pulled into a park eventually. One of those quiet ones with trails and worn-out benches where old men play chess and mothers chase toddlers with juice boxes. I sat on a bench overlooking the water and tried to breathe like a man who wasn't unraveling. It was strange, the calm that followed. I expected rage, maybe even tears. But there was none. Just this quiet acceptance, like the moment after a car crash when you realize you're still alive, but everything's changed. By the time I made it home, it was dark. Her car was in the driveway. For a moment, I considered just driving past. Let her wonder where I went. Let her feel the silence. But then again, I wasn't built for games. I'd never been the dramatic one in our story. That was always her. The house was quiet when I stepped inside. I heard her before I saw her. Pacing, heels clicking on the hardwood, phone in hand. She turned when she saw me, startled like she didn't expect I'd actually come back. Michael, she breathed. I didn't answer. She started talking fast. Too fast. I didn't sleep with him, she said, voice cracking. Not yet. I swear. We went on a few dates. It was stupid. It was selfish. But I didn't cross that line. I nodded slowly. So you just danced on the edge of it. She opened her mouth, closed it. I wanted to feel wanted. That's not an excuse, but it's the truth. I walked past her into the kitchen. The same kitchen where she used to hum while making tea, where we danced barefoot that night after the power went out. Now it just felt cold. Foreign. She followed me. I'll end it, she said quickly. I already blocked him. I'll do anything. I turned to face her. I don't want you to end it. She blinked. What? I want you to be honest. Not for me, for yourself. I want you to look me in the eye and tell me if you still want this. Us. Silence. I do, she said. But her voice trembled. Then why didn't you fight for it? I asked genuinely. All those nights we sat in silence. All those times I asked if you were okay. Why did you lie? I didn't want to hurt you. I laughed, hollow and tired. Well, that didn't work out, did it? She stepped closer. I miss us, Michael. I miss who we used to be. I stared at her for a long time. The face I used to wake up next to with peace in my heart. The woman who once ran through an airport to kiss me goodbye. Now she stood in front of me asking for another chance. But the trust? It wasn't just bruised. It was gone. I said the only thing I could. I think we both need to figure out who we are outside of this. Whatever this has become. Her face crumpled. Are you leaving? I nodded. Not out of anger, I said. Not even out of betrayal. I'm leaving because I can't pretend anymore. And I think you've been pretending for a long time, too. She cried then. Real tears. Not the performative kind. And that was maybe the hardest part, because I knew she still loved me. Just not enough. Not enough to choose me every day. I packed a bag that night. Nothing dramatic. Just the essentials. I left my wedding ring on the bathroom counter. She didn't come into the bedroom while I packed. Maybe she couldn't. Maybe she was hoping I'd change my mind. I didn't. As I stepped out into the night air, I felt something strange. Not freedom. Not grief. Just a quiet acceptance. Sometimes, love isn't enough. Sometimes, people drift so far apart they start looking for pieces of themselves in other people. And sometimes, the worst betrayals don't happen between strangers. They happen between people who promised they never would. I drove to my brother's place. He didn't ask questions. Just poured me a drink and let me sit in silence. In the days that followed, I went through the motions. Lawyers. Separation paperwork. Quiet conversations with mutual friends who had no idea. She didn't contest anything. Maybe she knew she didn't have the right to. One day, a letter arrived. No return address. Just her handwriting on the front. Inside was a single page. No defenses. No excuses. Just, I broke something that can't be put back. I just hope, someday, you'll remember the parts of us that were real. I sat with that letter for a long time. And maybe one day, I will remember the good more than the ending. But not yet. Not while I can still see her feeding him cake.